On today's episode, we have Jeanna Valenti joining us. She is the TEDx organizer for the Scottsdale Women's event taking place on November 20th. She's giving us the behind the scenes tour and inside scoop as far as all the information that will be covered at that event. This is something you want to tune in for. Jeanna, thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Lindsay. I'm so excited to be here.
We have a really big, awesome event in store scheduled for November 20th. And we are talking a little bit more about the TEDx Scottsdale Women's event. So, Jeanna, I know you have been a part of this, making this magical event happen for a little while. Would you mind just kind of sharing the backstory as far as how it came to be and how we started hosting these events here in Scottsdale?
Sure, absolutely. Well, the first TEDx Scottsdale Women was held in 2018. The organizer of that event was Kelly Salloway. So that was the first one that happened. And then I actually got laid off from my corporate job last year. And I was really just searching. Well, first of all, I had time on my hands. So I was really searching for really some inspiration. And, I've always been a huge fan of TED. So I started researching how we could host a TEDx Women event here in town in 2020. So it was really a passion project for me. So I applied for the license and they awarded it to us. So we decided to move ahead with a live event because that's TED issues a variety of kinds of licenses. So I applied for the live event. So they granted us that and here we go. And so it's being held on Friday, November 20th. We have 8 fabulous speakers this year, and we're very excited about it. We have 2 sessions. So there's an afternoon session and an evening session, and it's coming up quickly. So we're getting really excited about it.
Yeah. So the theme of this year is called Rewrite Your Script. And so when you were putting together this event, what were your thoughts behind, what you were hoping to accomplish through this specific event and through that title?
Sure. Well, when I was laid off from my own corporate job, I had to sort of think about how I was going to reinvent myself. So I came up with the theme, rewrite your script, stories of reinvention, inspiration, and transformation. That was the theme I came up with. Well, as the universe would have it, COVID came along and many people were going through different things, whether it was unemployment or they had to suddenly become stay-at-home parents because their children were being homeschooled. So I just found it so interesting that this theme totally fits with people who are having to redo their careers, people who've been laid off due to COVID, or they have new circumstances that they're having to adjust to. So the theme really started as something personal for me, but it ended up being applicable to many for sure.
Yeah, this year more than ever, I feel like that theme is perfect and hits home for all of us. So, really looking forward to it. Now, I know you received so many applications for potential speakers at this year's event. And so, would you be open to sharing a little bit more about those that have been selected and who we can expect to hear more from on Friday, November 20th?
Sure. Originally we had about 100, over 100 people who were interested in being speakers. But when it came down, they had to go through an application process. They had to fill out, it was a pretty short application, but then they had to submit a 1-minute video to us, to the committee, about what their talk would be about. So a lot of people were interested initially, but then when we started, when it was time to collect the videos, then our numbers started to go. It's hard to video yourself talking about what your talk is going to be about. So we ended up with about 65 applicants total. So the committee went through all the applications and the videos, and it was really tough because there's so many amazing women and so many amazing stories. We did narrow it down to 8 people, and so this year's speakers, we just announced it. So the first one is Christy Bidwell. So her story is amazing. She led a blind man to the summit of Kilimanjaro. I was so fascinated by that story. I'm like, who wakes up in the morning thinking that they're going to lead a blind person up Kilimanjaro to the summit? No doubt. So we're very excited to have Christy. Sonia, our next speaker is Sonia Bouchard. I hope I'm saying her name right. I am. Sonia. So Sonia's amazing. Her big idea. So of course TED is all about ideas worth sharing. Sonia is an expert in biophilia and biophilic design, which to me is just extraordinary. And I won't share her thunder. We'll let you hear directly from her about what that's all about. But I was so fascinated with just her depth of knowledge in the subject that most of us don't really know anything about. Gosh, there's so many amazing women. So Brielle Decker is one of our speakers. And she has quite the transformational story. She was a member of a cult, she was a member of FLDS. So she was the 65th wife of Warren Jeffs. And she basically escaped through a window and rewrote her entire life story. And the huge mansion that Jeffs owned, she was able to transform it into a refuge for other women who escaped the church. Her story is just like no other, and we're just delighted that she's going to be able to be here with us for the TED Talk. We have Valerie Fitzgerald, who has an amazing story as well. She was a single mother and pretty much left behind everything she knew in New York, moved to California, and created what's now a multi-million-dollar business single-handedly. She's a best-selling author of the book called Heart and Sold. So we'll hear from Valerie, who's just magnificent. We have a woman, Cynthia James, whose story is so powerful. I'm not sure I can encapsulate it quickly, but she survived decades of abuse in her family, and she went on to basically transform her life. She's also a best-selling author. She speaks internationally. Her talk is "Your past does not define you." It's very powerful. I can't even wait to hear her talk. We've only heard their 1-minute videos, and we had a quick rehearsal. So there are 3 more speakers. Dr. Gladys Mcgarry. So Dr. Gladys is local here in Scottsdale, as many of these women are, and she is turning 100 years old this month. She is known around the world as the mother of holistic medicine. She is phenomenal. She is just as dynamic of a speaker as I've ever heard in my career. She's just we're just delighted to have her. She's extraordinary. Oh my goodness, we have Jan Phillips coming for the TED Talk. She's so many things. She's an artist. She's a photojournalist, and I love her story because she used to work for Mother Teresa. Again, these stories are just so phenomenal.
They are.
So she's gone on peace pilgrimages. She sang with Pete Seeger to raise money for earthquakes, and I just too much to say. And then our last speaker is Liliana Soto, who again, if I even try, she's an immigrant who just completely transformed her life when she came to this country. She's won several Emmys now. And I think we just need to wait to get to the event to hear the rest. Let the speakers speak in their own words.
Yeah, no, I think there's so many remarkable women that will be featured at this event. And I think, how can you not walk away from the TEDx talks feeling inspired and motivated going into 2021? So aside from feeling motivated and empowered, is there any other feeling that you're hoping that audience members will walk away with?
Well, I think for me, my response was truly, after hearing their videos, their applications and submissions, was really anything is possible if we put our minds to it. truly there's no limit to what we can accomplish as human beings. And I think certainly the audience is going to feel inspired and motivated, but I think they're going to walk away with this feeling that they too are capable of anything they put their minds to. So it should just be a fabulous day. Now, I have to say, we've had challenges, as everyone knows. Just even executing a live event during this climate has been a challenge. So it hasn't been easy. I mean, we've had a lot of work to do to get to this point. We had to reduce our audience size due to COVID so that we could properly social distance. That's why we're having two events, one in the afternoon and one in the evening. And of course, everyone will be wearing masks and socially distance. And we did hire a COVID certified medic to take everyone's temperature at the door, as well as we hired an extra cleaning, a sanitizing crew to make sure that the venue is safe for everyone.
Yeah, having to go that extra mile now that we're living in the era of COVID-19. But I know many of us that have already purchased our tickets. We're so excited about this specific event. It's one of the first in-person events that we've heard of here in the business community. So it'll be nice and should be a lot of fun. So for those that have never attended a TEDx talk, I mean, I think a lot of us listen to them on YouTube or watch them or, hear them. But if they've never attended one with a live audience, what does that experience look like?
Well, TED Talks, so TED has a lot of rules that we have to follow, so to speak. So every TED Talk must be 18 minutes or less. So that's the first sort of thing to remember. And secondly, none of these women have ever done a TED Talk before. So might be new for the audience, but it's also new for some of the speakers. So I think knowing that this might be some people's first time on stage. So we're going to be very kind, of course, to our speakers, our guest presenters. The other thing I think a lot of people don't understand about these talks is it's really all about the video. So at the end of the day, we have a video crew who will be videoing the TED Talks, and then after the event, the videos are edited, and then those videos of these women are uploaded onto TED's website. So that's really the takeaway for this event, because then those speakers, their stories go up on TED's website, which have millions of viewers. And so it really creates this sort of expanded platform for the speakers that many of them, they are living their lives. They're not professional speakers. They're not used to getting up on a stage. So I think that's something that people don't understand is like, yes, it's what a blessing and what an amazing experience for the audience to be able to see and hear these women's experiences. But at the end of the day, it's all about that video. And then once the video is edited, it goes up on TED's website, which is, I mean, for these speakers, what a tremendous platform for them to be able to share their wisdom and their stories and their experience. So yeah, I think that's it's kind of neat if you've never, been to something like this to watch the whole thing come together.
Now, is it only open to women to attend or are men invited to attend as well?
Anyone, children, adults, men, women. In fact, we did have a male, so we did have a man apply to speak as well. So it's not necessarily limited to women. We could apply for a license, which could have been anyone, but then we also had the option to apply for a women's event, which is what we chose to do. But anyone is, we invite anyone to attend. Absolutely.
For those that maybe the 2020 event didn't work out for their calendar, are there plans of hosting one in 2021?
Oh my goodness. I would have never said that when we first started, because it's been a lot of work, a lot of details. But I think there's probably no way we can't do it, because we got such an overwhelming response. When they held this event in 2018, the tickets sold out within minutes, and they had 1,700 people on the waiting list. This time, I think partially due to COVID, our ticket sales haven't been as fast, but just the response of people, even just like this week, I've gotten other speakers who are interested in speaking. And of course, we're well planned into this event. But of course, I'm thinking, how can I tell these people no? Because their stories are so phenomenal and can impact so many lives. And so I've been keeping my little running list of people who are interested, because I'm thinking we're going to do this again. And if the committee, if one or more of us attend the National TED Conference, then we are allowed to host one of the larger events. This particular event, TED limited us to 100 audience members. But if one of us is able to attend the TED National Conference, then we can host one of the larger events, which I think this town, certainly the Phoenix Scottsdale area, could support one of the larger events. So I'd say yes, let's plan to do another one in 2022.
All right, you heard it straight from her. So mark your calendars. I'm sure more details will be out here before we know it. But for those individuals that are interested in potentially applying to become a speaker for a future event, do you have any tips for them? Like, what were really cool things that you saw in the application process that really made individuals stand out from the crowd?
Oh my, well, I think the first word that comes to me is it's about energy. It's I read somewhere that we have 6 seconds, 6 seconds before someone says a resounding yes or a resounding no that we like the speaker. So I think it used to be 11 seconds, but now it's 6 seconds that we're giving an audience, that opportunity to say yes or no. So I think to anyone who's going to apply, it has to be a quick sort of energy. Don't wait for 30 seconds to get to what the crux of your message is. I think what set these speakers apart, our speakers for this year, was that, first of all, they had a compelling story, but they were just alive with passion and energy and this sort of extraordinary quality. They almost like were shining. I don't know how else to say it, but I think it's about just capturing that energy quickly and getting to the point in 6 seconds or less. So it's challenging, but doable.
Well, I know I'm personally so excited. It's a complete honor to have the opportunity to MC the event on November 20th. If you haven't already bought your tickets, now is the time to do it. How many tickets do we have available at this point in time? I'm sure it's probably becoming a little more limited.
Oh my, and thank you so much. We're so grateful to have you MC the event. We're absolutely thrilled. They're going fast. I checked, I guess it was yesterday morning, and there were about 30 tickets left. So I figure they're going to be gone pretty quickly. So
Yep, now's the time to save your seat. So, Jeanna, before we wrap up today's conversation, is there anything else you want to share with our audience about the upcoming TEDx Scottsdale Women's event?
Well, first of all, there are 2 sessions, so you've got to decide if you're going to come to one or both. And it's the same 8 speakers, so you don't have to choose between speakers. The tickets are on sale at TEDxScottsdaleWomen.com. So it's pretty easy once you get on the website to figure that part out. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Wonderful. Well, Jeanna, thanks again for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay. Thank you for being our MC for this amazing event.